Welcome to Tech Botcast, your gateway into innovations, ideas, and breakthrough for future of rehabilitation and technology. Today, we are very happy to be joined by Professor Zaliha Omar in the studio with us today. So it's an immense honor to have you with us today to talk about the rehabilitation journey, the landscape in Malaysia, as well as global perspective of rehabilitation medicines. So, Professor Zaliha, before we start, maybe would you be able to tell us more about yourself and share us about your background?
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you very much, Owen.
Thank you.
For that very generous, brief intro. Well, at the start, you mentioned the word mother of rehabilitation. How lovely. Thank you for the acknowledgement. Personally, I'm a mother. I'm married, have been married to a family practitioner, Dr. Zaid Abdullah, for 46 years.
Wow.
And I have 3 children, Amir, Elina, and Nazrin. Amir is a bioengineer. Amir is an engineer in America. Elina is a neonatologist working in NICU at Great Ormond Street in London. And our youngest, Muhammad Nazrin, he is a sustainable engineer. And he is our only one who lives in Malaysia. The 2 boys are married. And from our eldest, Amir, I have 2 grandchildren.
Wow.
Isabella Noor is 10 years old. And Sophia Marie is 6 years old. That's me.
Yeah.
Zaliha binti Omar, and I come from Muar, Johor.
Wonderful, wonderful, and such a lovely introduction of yours, and not just your mother, but also a grandmom now, right? Yeah, and from your daily life and daily activities, how has family been involving in your such a busy schedule of work, but yet very impactful to the community and the country? How has family been playing a role to you?
I think family is so important. What we are out there is basically because of the family that we have. Yeah, the more stable the family is, the more stable we are outside, the more dynamic we are. For me, it's almost borderless. Well, I know my limits, what I need to share with the family, what I can't share with the family. I'll give you an example. When our daughter was a medical student, she came back and shared what she had that day in class. She had to do a presentation, and her lecturer asked her, "Where do you learn this from? Where do you learn to present so well?" So she said, "Oh, it's a daily life for us. My dad is a doctor, my mom is a doctor, and we discuss these things over dinner every day."
Wow.
And the lecturer asked her, "Who's your dad?" And then she mentioned, "My husband. My husband is a very quiet, humble person, very good in his work." And then she mentioned, "Yours truly." So what the lecturer said? "My God, Professor Zaliha is your mother?" And she said, "Yeah, she's my mother." "Why?" she said. And this particular lecturer said, "Your mom is a legend."
Wow.
"She was my teacher," he said. And she was so excited. So I think, that's in a gist what happened in a family.
Yes.
Wherever I do my work, in the community particularly, I bring my children with me. I remember when we first came back from England, my eldest, Amir, was only 2 years old. And I started my community work right away in Perak, in Ipoh, Perak. 1980, you can imagine, you were not born yet, is it? Ipoh, Perak, there's quite a bit of poverty. And I did work in the community that involve vulnerable people, people who are poor, people who are disabled.
Yeah.
And I bring along my son. And we have to see disabled people and patients on the floor. Floor means earthen floor, not cemented floor, okay? So while I see and examine and discuss about the disabled person, my son is playing with creepy crawlies.
Ooh.
Then when I had my daughter, because I was breastfeeding, I had to bring her along with me wherever I went. For instance, she was just 2 weeks old. I took her to a conference on cardiac rehabilitation in Singapore.
Yes.
Why did I bring her? Because I was breastfeeding. But people were so helpful. And everybody there said, how old is this baby? And I said, 2 weeks old. My God, she's the youngest participant. And now when I go conferences, I see young people bring their babies. I am so happy. Because children, when they get involved in our work, they grow up happy. They grow up knowing the work. Like now, I'm happy to say that all of my children, who they were sort of culturally imbibed into my life doing my community work. And it's so natural for them to be involved in community work.
Yeah, and it is now I see the real reason, like what's your key motivations to all your legendary career of rehabilitation medicine in Malaysia. You know, you have been married for 46 years, you have your family backing you up all the while. And you mentioned, you know, when you were back in Malaysia from the UK's, from your studies, and it was, I think it was back in 1980s, where the rehabilitation
end of 83 we came back.
And the rehabilitation medicines landscape in Malaysia haven't started, but there has been also like physical medicine's presence in Malaysia. Maybe you can tell us more about like the situation at that time when you just got back to Malaysia, being called back to start the landscape of this.
Okay, lovely. Thank you for that question. This is so vivid in my mind.
Ooh.
I remember when I was chased by the head of orthopedics, the late Professor Bala, bless him. I was doing pediatrics. I was a houseman in pediatrics. And whenever he did his ward round in pediatrics, I would come around because he was a great teacher. I wasn't part of his team, but I just come around and join because he's such a great teacher, you know, and I knew him as a medical student. He was chasing me. He had a responsibility to identify a person in the university, a young lecturer, to bring up, to develop rehab. Because rehab unit was one of the units within orthopedics.
All right.
So he was given that responsibility by Professor Diraja Engku Aziz, my personal mentor, and he had to go around and look for a person. And somehow he sort of picked on me. And he said, would you like to do rehab? Come, talk to me, he said. So I said, what's that? Rehab? I said, never heard of that one. So I said, okay, I'll think about it. And then he kept chasing me. He was so persistent. And second time he did, I said, no, I want to do pediatrics. I want to be a pediatrician. So he said, well, okay, when you feel you want to talk to me, you can always come to my office. But he kept chasing me until one day I said, okay, I'll come and talk to you. So when I was in his office, he told me about having to develop rehab.
Yes.
Of course, it was meaningless to me at that time. But I was very curious. I said, I don't know anything about rehab. How can I do it? You know what he said? He gave me the carrot. He said, now you can choose to go and see what rehab is. It was my first year as a medical officer. I'm sorry,
the orthopedic unit.
Sorry, I beg your pardon. I was still a houseman. He said, you can choose where to go and sit. So I said, okay, but you have to sign up.
So you kind of like being bonded?
Yes. So I decided, okay, and the chief of pediatrics, late Professor Lam, bless him, at that time, also told me, Zaliha, go and get a feel of everything before you dive into what you think you want to do.
Okay.
So between these two, I thought, hey, there's a signal here. So I actually signed up to join orthopedics, as at that time it was called Academic Staff Training Scheme.
Okay.
There was a system in the university where people take in young lecturers, and like in England, typical, they actually look at people's character and, of course, look at how they have done as a medical student in medical school as well as a houseman, and try to sort of grab them into each of their departments. And that happened to me. And so I signed up, and little did I know, I had to work hard right away. He paired me up with 3 young medical officers, a bit my senior, in orthopedics, and they were preparing for their FRCS.
What does that mean, FRCS?
Fellowship of the Royal College of Surgeons.
Surgeons.
So everybody in orthopedics have to do the FRCS. Yeah? And these 3 Tambiraj, Zoraini, and another orthopedic medical officer at that time. You know what I had to do? I had to do all the MCQs, all the preparation for FRCS. I said, I'm not going to do FRCS. Why do I have to do this? No. This is the way you learn, Prof Zaliha said. So we religiously, 4 of us, sit down at the end of each day, 6:30, we have to sit down and do MCQs. So I was actually their buddy, helping them prepare for, because I wasn't going to sit for the exams.
Yeah, you aiming for rehab.
So I tell you, the upbringing of lecturers at that time was so robust. They were such great teachers. And you can I can go up to the Vice Chancellor to ask for advice. How did I do that? I go up to the secretary and said, when can I speak to Pak Engku? She said, okay, 6 o'clock in the morning, come out jogging.
Wow.
Because he jogged around campus at that time.
Yes.
So for me to reach out to him, I have to come out early in the morning. You see what that does to our life?
Discipline, and then you
Yes,
really get...
even now, my young ones, when I phone them at 3 a.m. or 4 a.m. in the morning, they dare not pick up the phone.
Wow.
They
Always
learn
prepared.
that respect.
Yeah.
Oh God, it's Prof Zaliha, I must answer. So whatever time I call them from any part of the world, if I need to ask a question, I still do now, right now, I still do.
Marvelous.
You can ask my young ones, Nazira. use all the young ones. If they look at my phone, maybe, I don't know if they're grumbling behind that, but they will answer the phone.
They know how it works. Yeah, they know how you work, and they are trained that way as well.
Yes. Even with my therapist, they know if I phone at odd time, it's usually important. It's either about the country or about the patient.
I see.
So that was how I grew up.
Yes. And you were sent to the
I
UK for training, and then
and
with
then
the 3 of them together.
Yes. Sorry, let me go back to
Sure.
you asked me earlier. I'm sorry, I got a bit carried away there. And yes, I was told at that time we didn't have things ready-made for us. Now you have master of this, master of that, all the different academic
Orthopedics,
programs
etc.
for the specialties. In my time, there was none. You have to create your own program. If you want to do rehab, you look for a place that will train you in rehab. As for myself, so what did I do? I went to look out for people in the country who have done rehab before. So who did I go up to talk to? I talked to the late Tan Sri Majid Ismail. He was an orthopedic surgeon, the first orthopedic Malayan orthopedic surgeon who headed HKL.
Yes.
And he had worked with the British before. So and rehab was very much part of orthopedics since the British days in the 40s in HKL.
Yes.
So he had everything in his brain. Nothing is archived in books. So he told me the history of rehab at that time, because in orthopedics, which part of rehab is important other than the so-called physical rehab? It is the technology, orthotics and prosthetics.
I see.
So he introduced me to Mr. Mallowship, who was the British orthopedic surgeon who ran orthopedic surgery in HKL, but he loved Penang. So he lived in Penang and ran HKL.
Oh, I see.
At that time, I suppose you're not so busy, yeah?
Yeah.
And then, as it evolved, what happened? They brought in two expatriates who actually did their training in what was called physical medicine and rehabilitation in England
I see.
in the 80s before I did.
Yep.
One was Dr. Ayu Malik, the other one was Dr. Min Han. Ayu Malik was from Pakistan and Min Han was from Myanmar. They set up the first rehab service in HKL. So I went up. They were still there before I went to England.
Yes.
So I went up to look at what they have done, to get to know about rehab a little bit. And then I heard about a doctor in the Ministry of Welfare at that time. She was a doctor, a GP, who did a lot of rehab. So she did rehab as a even
Added
though she was a
service.
GP, she had to do rehab because the patients that she saw were all disabled patients. So she had to do rehab. And at that time, the welfare center in Cheras already had physiotherapy, occupational therapy, psychology, and what was called what is it called? Orthotics and prosthetics was called appliance making.
Appliance
The
making.
technology part was called
Okay.
appliance making. So simple.
Oh, I see.
These are people who like tools and they know how to repair wheelchairs. They know how to make crude, by today's standard, I beg your pardon, by today's standard, prosthesis.
Yes.
And at that time, Australia donated a lot of legs, artificial legs, that the army, that belong to the army.
For the amputees.
They donate the legs to us. They also donated wheelchairs and other technology items. And the appliance maker would actually repair and fit into our patients. That was how especially below knee amputees,
Yes.
in Malaysia at that time, or Malaya, and went into Malaysia. The army, people in the army was more into it. Why? Because many of the amputees were amputated from booby traps during the communist time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, in fact, they also brought in those things. So I actually learned a lot from the good doctor in Ministry of Welfare. And later I heard, I didn't meet her after she went to England to do the course. She came back to Ministry of Welfare and continued to work for a short while before she left for her own personal
see.
reason. So there were 3 doctors before me who did rehab.
But at
I
that
got to call mother of rehab basically because I suppose I went on to do development of rehab for the whole country.
Yes.
Whereas the 3 did their job where they were working and they
Yes.
didn't go beyond that. I suppose there's a bit of a difference.
Sure. And they, from what I heard, I think, and hear from you, is that they were literally providing the services. But at that time, it was also kind of being defined or more commonly called as the physical medicine.
Correct.
But the idea of a holistic approach of rehabilitations might not be really conceptualized at the time, right?
True,
And
very true.
yeah.
But by the time I was lucky, remember Professor Bala asked me to choose where do I want to go and see rehab. I could go to Hong Kong, I could go to Australia, I could go to Singapore. So I said, so far away, I don't want to go so far away. And I said, okay, I'll go to Singapore.
Yeah.
So I went to Singapore. At that time, it was headed by Dr. Robert Don in Tan Tock Seng Hospital. It was amazing. It was amazing, really. Even though it was old-fashioned, of course, it was 1980.
Yeah, yeah.
It's a bit
Back then.
1980s era.
Yeah, yeah.
They still had the iron lung. Polio was still very common. Lots of patients with polio.
Yeah.
And what I saw actually changed my whole my previous thought about rehab being just physical. It taught me about the holistic approach in rehab. And Tan Tock Seng Hospital was fantastic. They had all the different professionals within rehab, and I learned so much from them. I stayed for only 2 weeks. Prof Bala said I can stay for as long as I want. But within 2 weeks, I already made back my mind. Oh yes, I want to do rehab.
Wow.
And Robert Don was also trained like the other three in England. And Dr. Tan at that time, his assistant. So by then I had met 5 people who were trained in London in physical medicine and rehab. And they helped me design my own training program. They were fantastic, especially Dr. Robert Don and all his therapists and all that. And a lot of people were trained in England at that time, So when I came back, of course, my boss was very happy. Okay, let's start preparing. So at that time, like I said, we have to prepare our own training program. But I had very good mentor in Professor Bala and also the dean at that time. By that time, Professor Danaraj had retired and Professor Soma was the dean. In our time, our leaders were fantastic. Many of the leaders now are, of course, in terms of really mentoring us in all the nitty-gritty of the end. Malaya being very geared towards England and UK because of our relationship with England. People here know many people in England and in the UK, and over time we have a collection of people who has this empathy for us Malaysians who need to be trained, and they are eager to do it with us.
Support that.
So through them, I managed to contact and got my training program organized. Shall I share that? About the training program that I had in England.
Indeed, like the training program, and then how you actually benefit from that and come back to Malaysia to start your service as well.
I think that's the bit that made me a mother of rehab. That was my turning point. Going to England, I had a scholarship. At that time, it was called JPA scholarship, Jabatan Perkhidmatan Awam in Malay, or Public Services Department scholarship. There were lots of scholarships for doctors, but I was one of I think I probably was the only taker, other than the other lady doctor from the Department of Welfare, who went up to Public Services Department requesting for that scholarship, and they were eager to give it to me. So, University of Malaya had a fantastic system of the academic staff training scheme. So that strengthened further the availability, or rather access to scholarship for postgraduate training. So I was offered a scholarship to be trained for 4 years. At that time, for all the specialties in medicine, your training has nothing to do with your exam. This is training, this is exam. You can train yourself and sit for the exam, or you can organize your training and sit for an exam. Because the exams are organized by colleges in England, if it's the exam
certify
England.
you.
So like, is it Royal College of Medicine, Royal College of Physician, and of course there's London, Glasgow, Edinburgh, all the different cities have their own colleges.
Mm-hmm.
In order to credential myself as a rehab physician at that time, I have to sit for the exam set by the Royal College of Physicians of London. And it is called, all postgraduate at that time, the exams are called diploma. Okay? Diploma in Medical Rehabilitation, Royal College of Physicians of London. I had to sit for the exam.
Yes.
Now, how do I train myself? I cannot sit for the exam right away because nobody in Malaysia can train me.
Yeah.
So, the only structured program available at that time was in London, organized by the University of London, the Postgraduate Medical Education, University of London. All my three predecessors were also trained like that. So were Dr. Robert Don and Dr. Tan, whom I met in Singapore. So I thought, oh, that is the path of least resistance.
Yep.
So I went and enrolled, applied. Of course, it was very well received. There were not many people. My fellow trainees with me were mainly from Middle East, Jordan, Egypt, Pakistan. And I was the only one from Malaysia. There were 8 of us. The training was fantastic. Our supervisors at that time were who's who in rehab, but they're not rehab physicians. For instance, my personal supervisor was Dr. Christopher Barry Wynn Perry. He was a rheumatologist and he specializes in the hand. He wrote the thick book, Rehabilitation of the Hand. But he's not a rehab physician. He was a rheumatologist. So, similarly, the people who taught me spinal cord injury in Stoke Mandeville Hospital, the hospital at that time for Stoke, for spinal cord injury, all my teachers were non-rehab physicians. They were spinal surgeons, spinal physicians, urologists, of course, physiotherapists, osteotherapists, the whole range of allied health sciences. They were the teachers. So in every section, in Charing Cross, I did cardiac rehabilitation. Similar setting, no rehab physician. Cardiologists taught us and psychiatrists taught us. And then when I was doing geriatric rehabilitation, it was a geriatrician who taught us. But they had their teams. Orthopedic rehab, I went to Royal National Orthopedic Hospital. You don't want... It's the best hospital at that time. So you could, when I did sports, it was in Strawberry Hill, and they prepare Olympians. So I was very lucky in my training, and that training was only 2 years. And you can sit for your exam at the end of 2 years.
And you rightfully went for it.
I went for the exam, but I had 4 years scholarship. Remember? Yeah. So I completed the training, so-called training. Yes, it was a structured training, and I sat for the exams. And I had passed.
Marvelous.
Because I had passed, at that time there was no email, right? I received a telegram from Malaysia.
The actual telegram,
from University Malaysia.
To be called back to University Malaysia.
To come back to work. I have only taken up 2 years of my scholarship. And I said, hey, it's only 2 years. Why should I come back? Why can't I continue?
We are really glad that you came back and made the decisions to come back to that.
Yes, but I faithfully came back even though I was offered another scholarship to do my MPhil and PhD in Edinburgh. At that time, the chair for rehab for the whole of UK was only one. And that is in Edinburgh. And after my exams, he came down, Professor Atkins came down to London to ask me, come and do your MPhil and PhD in Edinburgh. So I said, yes, of course. But of course, University of Malaya called me back, so
at last you chose to come back.
But I think on hindsight there, Allah had arranged it like that. What was my intention in the beginning? My intention in the beginning was to do rehab so I could develop rehab for the country.
Yeah.
And Allah said, come back, come and get started.
Get back to your path.
Yes. And remember, I said I was not trained by any rehab physician. So I didn't have actual training by a rehab physician. I was trained by every other people, but they were a whole team. So I brought that concept back home.
And how was
And that was the
rehabilitation
beauty.
there?
That was the beauty. Because I could see the concept. Rehab has to be teamwork.
Yes.
Multidisciplinary teamwork, interdisciplinary teamwork, and transdisciplinary teamwork. The trans at that time was so important. Why? Because there were no subspecialty. If you are a physiotherapist, you practice spinal cord injury rehab wherever you are trained, but you come back to Malaysia, there's not just spinal cord injury, there's pediatric rehab, there is stroke rehab, there's amputee rehab. You have to apply what you have learned onto the different sections.
Yes.
And that is transdisciplinary work. And I recognized at that time, this I picked up myself in when after I came back, not so much in England. The nurses were the best group that I can use as transdisciplinary team members.
Yes.
I give you an example. This is much later in the 90s, in the mid 1990s. We didn't have podiatrists to take care of patients' feet. And amputation rate was so high at that time. And then there was a paper that came out from England on how we can save amputation 50% of the time by doing foot care. So I caught that and started training. I brought in podiatrists, 3 podiatrists from Scotland and England to Malaysia and set up a training program for the nurses.
Yes.
A 9-month program. It was called Diploma in Rehab Practice, Diabetic Foot Care, specifically to prevent amputation. That is a perfect example of transdisciplinary work. Even today, it is relevant.
Indeed.
Even today, because there are so many special interest groups that has developed over time. And we cannot send everybody for specialty training.
And that's how we see, transdisciplinary method is actually a far more advanced model of rehab that has evolved from multidisciplinary, interdisciplinary approach, etc. And I was amazed to see that you had already applying transdisciplinary from there. And somehow, also, how does this experience of yours actually impact on your role in setting up the medical curriculums for the University of Malaya and the postgraduate residency program? You've been through the program itself, trained by non-rehab physicians. You've accumulated the rehab medicine's experience from your clinical work with UM and Impera as well. But how was the academic side, how you started the residential program? How was that being set to train rehab medicines in your home country?
Okay, let me go back a little bit. Before the residency, the rehab curriculum for medical students. I think that was the starting point. Why? Medical students are young, malleable. You can entice them if you are, you make it attractive to them. And I was a lecturer, not in rehab. I was lecturer in orthopedics. So when I came back, I still had to do the job of what my orthopedics colleagues did.
Yes.
I have theatre list, I have A&E list, I have clinic list, and on top of that, this is just like everybody else in orthopedics as a medical officer, a young lecturer. On top of that, I was the only one who had the rehab list, okay? Nobody else had a rehab list. Zaliha had a rehab list. But by the time I came back, I had a different head of department. And I think they were very smart. They called me head of rehab unit. I was a young doctor. My other team members in rehab were there much earlier than me, 10 years. My physiotherapists had been there more than 10 years before me. The OTs, the appliance makers, there were three main groups of people at that time. They were all much older than me. I was sweet 20s. They were already in their 40s and 50s going to retire.
Okay. And that was in 1980s, yeah?
Yes. When I even before I went to to England, and what have our culture taught us? That's, I think, thank you very much, Mom and Dad. There's the upbringing, the humility,
yes,
the humbleness, the respect that we have for people older to us, people who are more knowledgeable than us. Even though by today's standard, in terms of hierarchy, I was ahead already. Why? Because I came in as a doctor. A doctor hates the unit.
yes.
But I'm not the smartest of the lot. They have so many
experience-wise,
in terms of experience, they are so far ahead of me. So they were really my teachers. I can remember all of them. Mrs. Tay, thank you very much, my chief physiotherapist at that time. You know, when I have problems, you know what she tells me? She made me think. Dr. Zaliha, you are head of department and you're going to be head for a while. If you have this problem, let's discuss. You have to find a solution because you are the head. I'm just a physiotherapist. That's how they teach you. It's amazing, I tell you, the mentorship that I had. And when I go to the chief social worker, Zahara, my God, Kate Elvis, I remember all the old social workers, they were fantastic. I hung around them. Barbara Yan, I think, is still around. I hung around them. Why? Because they were so into patient care, and I love person-centered care. Even though at that time I didn't even know the word person-centered care. Yeah?
Yeah.
I learned from them how you have to focus. No two patients are the same. They may have exactly the same conditions. They may be twins, but they are not the same in terms of functionality, reaction to their condition, their environment. So, as doctors, we cannot know everything.
Agree so.
We have to work with the rest of the team so that whatever we provide the patient is comprehensive and it has to be holistic. Because the patient and the family have to understand, and we have to co-manage together. Now, I'm going away from your question.
Yeah,
Can
it's
you
fine.
repeat the question?
No. I think in
yeah,
a way you had
yes.
already addressed how these important roles and of multidisciplinary team, as well as these people who appeared in the journey of forming rehabilitation in Malaysia. Originally, they were already passionate work done, and from there you were very well blessed, I would say, and also you remembered their name very well to actually address credit to them, and that's how I see
they were great
it
teachers.
affects our Malaysia rehab landscape now.
Yeah,
But moving forward
yeah.
to the latest the current rehabilitation landscape, and what do you think could be different in terms of technologies involvement currently compared to back then? Now we have technologies. The rehab medicines professionals and rehab professionals are differently or benefited from your establishments of the training system. What do you see as the role of technology being involved in rehabilitation by these rehab professionals?
I love change. In my time, I was called an agent of change. And that's actually not a good statement. When you say someone is an agent of change, it means you are dangerous. You're going to make changes. That's our time. Okay? But of course, this time you want agents of change. You want to change to make things relevant. And at the moment, technology is relevant. Let me go back to where I left off earlier.
Yeah, sure.
Remember I said about coming back to teach not just residents, medical students. How did I start?
Yeah.
I was a lecturer in orthopedics.
Mm.
My job is to teach orthopedics. So what did I do? When I was given task, okay, Zaliha, you have to teach fractures this term.
Mm.
Or you have to teach dislocation this term. You have to teach whatever bits of orthopedics. What did I do?
Sneak in.
I spend maybe 25% of the time teaching the part they asked me to teach, and 75% of the time, what did I teach? Guess? Rehabilitation of that condition they want me to teach.
Yeah.
Because I feel nobody teaches that part. Why do I want to teach about fractures? Because there were 10 orthopedic surgeons at that time. There was only one rehab physician. So I thought rehabilitation of patients with fractures.
Hence, you're the one with the rehab list.
Yeah, it is not. Yeah, that's change. Okay, that's a change. Yeah, and I think
It's a breakthrough.
that I needed that to build up my confidence for teaching. And nobody takes medical students to patients' houses, right?
Yeah.
But in my teaching, I take students to houses. Your area here was full of houses of patients, either squatters or low-cost houses of patients who come to to PPUM
Yes.
and they have different types of disabilities. This was my teaching ground. So this is so nostalgic for me, sitting here looking at this concrete jungle when it was a different jungle then, where I had brought my medical students for teaching. I take them to patients' houses, not just at the hospital.
Yes.
So that again is a change. And the medical students love it. If you ask my senior batch of 5, Ramizan,
Yeah.
Nazira, Saini,
Dr. Saini.
Yusniza, Amara, 4 of them were medical students before they became my residents. And why? How did they get attracted to rehab? They remember my teaching, the teaching that they had as medical students in rehab. And it was different, it was a change. Then I realized, oh my God, this is so attractive to them. Afterwards, the curriculum in rehab evolved. There was a real slot for teaching rehab, not just through orthopedics. Because I also evolved. Because rehab medicine wasn't a department when I started. That wasn't my priority. My priority was to make it as impactful as possible. It doesn't matter where I give it from. It so happened that it is from orthopedics.
Through the orthopedic lectures,
Yes.
etc.
But what happened? Commonwealth Games, 1998. When Malaysia had to host Commonwealth Games, there's this criteria that you have to fit, conditions you have to fit in order to
Be a host, yeah.
And one of the conditions is you must have enough sports physicians. We didn't have credentialed sports. We had Ronnie Yeo, we had Raja Malik, we have a few people who were doing sports, but they were not specialists in sports. I mean, they were, many of them were GPs who were interested in sport. They were great, they were fantastic, and I learned a lot from them. So I was asked, I had put up a proposal to start the training in rehab medicine in the late 1990s. When I presented it to the Ministry of Education, they had to say this: we are not ready for training in rehab medicine. Why don't you do training in sports medicine? You see how the system works? I think it's amazing. Because of the Commonwealth Games, we have to meet the requirement of the Commonwealth Games, right?
Yes.
So we have to produce our own doctors. So this question, I only understood that a little later, And I agreed. And I was thinking, hey, sports has got, ringgit and cents. Rehab will not have much ringgit and cents. So I should start with sport medicine. So it was relatively easy. I could do up the proposal in less than a week. And of course, I consulted people who have experience in sports science and sports medicine as a professional association. I was a member of the Malaysian Sports Association at that time. Put out the proposal, and of course, immediately they approved.
Great.
We had 2 tracks. We call a fast track and an ordinary track. The fast track was a 2-year track. People can come in the fast track. People can come in as specialists and get super trained, if you like, just in sports. So they can be orthopedic surgeons, they can be cardiologists, they can be anybody. But now the training will be focused on sports. And then there's the ordinary residency training program, which in the design had aligned it with the other residency training program that was already there in University of Malaya. And that made it very simple, because you just have to modify, you follow the so-called template,
yes,
and then create what is sports medicine at that time. And we did. And now, we have, the program was initially called Sports Medicine and Rehabilitation, because I wanted to make sure they include the rehab component.
Yeah.
And at that time, gait training, things were coming in from, Alberto Eskenazi was coming from Philadelphia, and there were groups coming from Italy, bringing in gait training items. So technology was just coming in, up and coming at that time.
Yes.
So I agreed, and rehab people can also use the same technology.
Yeah.
So I thought at the back of my mind, hey, this is great. And what is sports rehabilitation? Sports rehabilitation to me is the upper end of rehab. If you do spinal cord injury and not bring the person into sports rehabilitation, your job is not done yet. To me, at that time, every person who's trained in spinal cord injury must be offered wheelchair tennis, must be offered whatever, wheelchair basketball. So they get into the healthy part of life.
Yes.
So I thought, okay, sports medicine. So that was how we actually started sports medicine residency training program before we started rehab medicine. The other thing was money. Because sports had money in terms of
better funded
attraction, funding, both from the government as well as from industries, which is very important. I have placed industry as a very important part, a very important component of my growth. From the industry tell me what is available, not just what is brought into Malaysia, but what is available in the rest of the world. And I think that's so important. We have to keep up with technology through industries. So we started the residency training program in sports medicine and rehabilitation at the time.
Yes.
Now it is called sports medicine. Yeah, there are more than 70 over 80 graduates now, and at that time we didn't have. So you know what's happening now? People who are graduates of sports medicine in the hospitals, they do the upper end of rehab.
Yes.
And get people healthy. That's what we need to do, right? Definition of wellness.
Still coming from a similar stream, right? Similar origin.
So very quickly, I already had the proposal for rehab medicine. So when sports medicine got accepted by the Ministry of Education, it was relatively easy for me to propose rehab medicine, and they accepted it. But Asia financial crisis, 1997. So, and we had to start rehab training in 1997 at the peak of Asia financial crisis. So what happened? I was told, Zaliha, okay, you can start the program, but you have no funding. I had zero funding other than my salary and the salary of my assistant. But Allah saved me. I started sports medicine. Prof Medicine had money already. We had the endowment fund, 3 million at that time from Petronas.
Yes.
And we already started our collection from industries. We had industry support. Yeah. So I had to create something new for rehab medicine for money for the 5 years that I didn't have money. How did we do it? This is innovation, okay? Amazing. I set up funds in the department. People who want to make contribution towards our growth can contribute towards the fund. In my time, local industries, my God, Lee Rubber, Country Robert Kwok from Shangri-La,
Yes.
and many others. Some are small businesses. They make contribution towards our
Contributed to the
work.
fund.
Why? Because they could see that we are helping the vulnerables. We are very welfare in approach. We help a lot of poor people and disabled people, and they get attracted to it. So that gave me an idea. I should set up funds. So people who want to contribute toward patients, we had what is called Patient Welfare Fund. People who want to contribute towards development, I call it Department Development Fund.
Important.
People who want to contribute towards staff development, I call it Staff Development Fund. But I'm not a financial manager. I'm a rehab physician. I cannot manage finance. So what did I do? I made friends with the chief accountant of the hospital. Can we put this as a sub-account of the hospital, but only to be used for rehab? And my God, the administrators, Datin Amina, Datin Latifa, these were great leaders, I tell you. They were deputy director of the hospital, even the director, Dato Gurmut Singh, late General Shamsuddin. These people, they are fantastic. They supported what I was doing. From far, they say, be careful, there's an agent of change. We've got to be careful when we agree to do things that Zaliha requests for. But I don't rely solely on them. I get money to the department. People were willing to contribute. And we set up our own shop called a rehab shop. And I requested no rental, but we brought in items that our patients require. And we use the money to give back to patients.
Great.
So the patient welfare fund was fed by our rehab shop. So that I tell you, like the I told you about Country Robert Kwok.
Yeah.
He was amazing. Once for 5 years, he supported my physiotherapy program, all the SIGs, special interest group in physiotherapy. So we worked with Cumberland College of Health Sciences in Sydney at that time. Of course, now they are part of the university. They brought in training just for physiotherapists. And we were not selfish. I learned early enough that University Hospital is very small. We cannot just do training for UH. We have to do for the rest of the country. Why? Because the impact has to be felt by people out of the university. And Nku Aziz taught me that. He said, Zaliha, what we do in the university, Menara Gading, is meaningless if our community out there cannot feel what we are doing. So the impact must be felt in the community, not just publications in the university. So in fact, I had very little time for publications. Most of my time was grassroots work, because I was alone for 13 years before I had other people join me.
And among all the impactful contributions you have made, I believe that it's not limited to Malaysia, even though it's very, very significant, but globally you have also been collaborating or contributing through a lot of organizations and institutions. How do you, if you can share us more about that, and how do you see that is helping, to shape the new generation of physicians towards an international contribution, being a fellow Malaysians?
I'm an ardent believer of lifelong learning. I'm still learning. I'm 72 going to 73 in a few weeks.
Still going young.
And I've now officially retired from University of Malaya for 20 years. I did my PhD at the age of 67. I graduated at the age of 71. That's lifelong learning for me. And I'm still learning.
Impressive.
Where do I learn all those things? By collaborating with people all over the world. I cannot just go out there and say, hey, we have to do this for Malaysia. Malaysia is just so small. But people with disabilities and people who can benefit from rehab are all over the world. And we have to collaborate and work together as members of WHO, just as a country from our region. Asia Oceania region is the biggest region in the world. We have to help all the other countries. Yes, I collaborate a lot internationally, and especially after my retirement. In fact, I think I'm more productive after my retirement. Why? Because first, after my retirement, I worked as advisor to the Minister of Women, Family and Community Development, for instance, for 2 years. I was directly in contact with people who need rehab services in the Malaysian scenario.
Yeah.
I could go grassroots as an advisor to the minister. How impactful is that? I wanted to do that all this while. And I had these 2 years. What I could do in 2 years, I couldn't do in the 25 years in University of Malaya. Why? Because I was more academic. In 2 years, I was solely grassroots out in the community. Similarly, out in the world, we cannot just do for us. Yeah?
Yeah.
There was a Lancet paper that came out in 2019. A third of the world population can benefit from rehabilitation. Yeah, the paper by Alec Caesar. And I think this should be our goal. All of us have to get together and work towards this service that we have to give to 1/3 of the population of the world. And how do we do it? We have to collaborate. So that is why when I have, people are still surprised that I have meetings at 2:30 in the morning Malaysian time. Why? Because it's 2:30 Eastern time in America. Because it's early morning in Europe. I believe in this great collaboration. And I'm so happy. Many of my juniors now, either my students or my students, collaborate with people all over the world. So
Marvelous.
whatever there is out there in the world, we can actually bring home. And actually now what we are doing is, what we do here, we bring out to the world.
Yeah.
Things like nature-based rehabilitation, things like community-based rehabilitation. We are more hands-on. So we are, not to say we are better, we probably have more experience than they do. We have a lot more cultural diversity. We have a lot more things to innovate in order to meet the diversity. So we can work with them, and that is where technology is so important. From basic technology of telehealth to the actual physical technology that Owen is doing right now, much more than I do.
Yeah.
Yes? Okay.
And thank you so much. And I truly believe that, your sharing and your living by example legacies that you have developed so far truly inspire a lot of younger generation, not limited to rehab physicians, but everyone in the rehab fields and also medical professionals. Even for us in the technology field, we are really impressed and also amazed by the tenacity that you've shown through your lifelong journey and contribution to the rehab field as well. So as we are about to wrap up, maybe a last question from us is that, being someone such an inspirational character or a figure in the international or global rehabilitation scenes, how do you foresee the next 10 years to be for rehabilitation medicines?
I look forward to the next decade. I think we are going to grow by leaps and bounds, especially through technology. We as people, we have to be selfless. I learned from my time with Professor Aichi Saito and Yohei Otaka in Fujita Health University in Japan, for instance. My supervisors these were my two supervisors for my PhD, and they are younger than me, okay? And I learned so much from them. There was so much technology at Fujita Health University when I was there and throughout my full time there. And remember, whatever we do, I think at leadership position, we have to be selfless.
Yes.
Don't hide those information. Do that connection. Use our connection so that we can benefit, the younger people can benefit. And how do we measure? How do we do diligence of our work? Is the impact that the community gets from whatever little that we do. You know, when I was given the ICCC award in 2024, International Council for Caring Community Award,
Yes.
at the United Nations in 2024, little did I know, the person who nominated me is from the other part of the world, in America.
Yeah.
And actually, due diligence was done on the work that I had initiated. Only after that, I did my own due diligence. And I'm amazed. The young ones have grown so fast. Now we have more than 50 people just among rehab physicians. I'm not talking the allied health yet, you know. I'm talking just about the rehab physician.
Yeah.
More than 50 have gone into specialized interest group. I mean, what more can you ask for?
Yeah.
And this is just what? We started in 1967. Yeah?
Yes.
And sorry, I beg your pardon. 1997. The first batch of graduates came out only in
Rehab medicines.
2001. It's only 25 years now. And we already have grown, my
far.
God, I think you can say more than 50 times over. Because there was only me specializing at that time. Now there are more than 50 who are in special interest group already.
Yes.
And that's more than what I did in my time.
Yeah.
And there are 170
Hundreds more
rehab physicians now.
Yes.
So you can be, if in my time I can see 10,000 patients, how many can 170 see?
Amplified by 100
Yes,
times.
and more than that, because we work in teams. There are 170 teams all over Malaysia, and these teams are our interdisciplinary and multidisciplinary and transdisciplinary teams. The nurses, the social workers, physiotherapists, occupational therapists, and each of the team member bring their own strength, their own professionalism in the work. And what does that do? It impacts upon our community. So I think we have to move on doing three things.
Yes.
One, person-centered care in our day-to-day work. Multimodal in our approach. Technology, embrace technology, use technology. Don't get suspicious about them pushing us doing this. No, it's up to us to decide whether
Yes.
the tool is good for our patients or for the people we are attending to. And three, collaborative teamwork. And these three components are in our Cochrane definition. If we don't do these three things, we are not doing rehab. I think I should end there.
Marvelous. I mean,
Thank you.
Truly believe that you have been very humble with your sharing, but I think the title of Mother of Rehabilitation does symbolize that they have contributed significantly towards rehabilitation, not just in Malaysia but globally as well. And the multiplications of the rehab physicians, like you mentioned, 170 teams that is impactful, not just in Malaysia but globally, in the US, in Europe, and your contribution towards the community in Southeast Asia is truly something that we would like to learn, and also see it as a legacy that you live upon to us for us to continue to develop and continue to follow you through.
Last word.
Yes, please.
We have to go intergenerational. I may be the mother, I'm the oldest, but the youngest can still share what they know with me. I can still learn from the young ones. And the young ones, you all better learn from the older ones as well, okay?
Yeah, speaking like a mother with
Pick up
advice.
the little bit of the wisdom if you like.
Great. All right, good.
Because rehab has to be not just science, but also the art, the
Yes.
art of the practice. So you must combine the science
The
and
human
the art.
touch of it
Yeah,
as well.
and be
Yeah.
intergenerational.
Marvelous. And with that, I
Thank
guess
you.
it will be a great wrap up for today's session. And thank you so much, Prof Zaliha, for your sharing again. And we hope to see you soon in our next episode as well. All right, take care.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much.